Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is our bigger show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are coming out for pre-order this weekend. So head over to infinityflux.net. Right now, you can follow along and place your pre-orders. Of course, everything you pre-order, you get 10% off of if you shop with us. And maybe this will give you a better idea of some of the cool stuff coming up that you'll want to get your hands on.
Because there is a lot of cool stuff coming out.
This is one of our bigger shows we've had in a while.
Yep.
It felt we've had a couple where DC didn't have a whole lot, or one of the companies wasn't pulling a whole lot. But this one, all the companies are represented very well.
Nice mix of books too.
Yeah,
big two indies, all kinds.
A lot of indie number ones.
Yep.
So let's get into it. Real quick thing, a lot has changed between our Wednesday show and this show.
Right.
We like to remind you sometimes, if you pre-ordered those books back then, you're still good. You've got those pre-ordered, so whenever they come back around, it just means their final order cutoff date shifted to a later date, but you're still good for those, and maybe you'll find something new appearing on here, which we've got a very cool one that we did not talk about on the show
because it wasn't up on Wednesday.
And it could be one of the biggest ones in a while.
Yeah. So this is Batman Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age #1. This is going to be a 12-issue series. And this is the first in DC's new line of Elseworlds books. They're bringing Elseworlds back. We're going to get a new Dark Knights of Steel book that's in the Elseworlds banner. There's going to be a new Batman Barbarian book. There's like 6 of them, I think. And this is the first of those. This is the first issue. This is written by Andy Diggle. The art is by Leandro Fernandez. And this is really cool because this expands the Gotham by Gaslight universe, which, if you don't know, Gotham by Gaslight was an Elseworlds title back in the 90s.
Wasn't it the original Elseworlds? Like the first book to have the Elseworlds?
It may have been the first one.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. But, this takes place in, like, Victorian era Gotham. Yeah, I guess. Wait, is this the one where he fought Jack the Ripper?
Yes.
Okay.
It's hard to get that one and the Doom that came to Gotham. And a lot of those were kind of set in that Victorian era.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was, if you've never read the original, definitely check it out.
It's great. So that original one was all about Batman in, old school Gotham. This is going to expand the world, and there's a mysterious meteor that falls on the wide open plains of the Midwest. Hint, hint. It unleashes a chain of events that finds Batman contending with not just the twin threats of Catwoman and a mysterious international assassin, maybe Ra's al Ghul, but also the emergence of superhuman beings beyond all comprehension. So basically, this is introducing Superman to the Gotham by Gaslight universe.
I believe this is going to introduce the Justice League.
Right.
Because I think we see on issue number 3 cover, there's Wonder Woman, but in this time frame.
Yeah, so Gotham by Gaslight, the original, was awesome, and this is just expanding that and introducing more characters. I cannot wait to see the Gotham by Gaslight version of these characters. I think it's going to be awesome. Because the original was so awesome, I think this will be too.
And DC does Elseworlds better than anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
It's such a refined thing that some of people's all-time favorite stories are Elseworlds stories.
Well, I mean, there's a reason they're bringing it back, right? You can see the logo up there in the top right. This is going to be fantastic. So this is our A cover right here. We have a Kendrick Kunka cover. I guess that's your Gotham by Gaslight Catwoman. She looks great. There's a Matina variant, which that's what Gotham by Gaslight Batman looks like.
With that collar and everything.
And it's like, Matt Reeves, the Batman. That's one thing I love is the collar. And that's awesome. And then there is a Jock foil variant. So that looks really cool too.
Who's the mysterious stranger in the back?
I mean, I guess that's the mysterious international assassin. I'm thinking it's Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
Maybe it's Deathstroke. I don't know.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 52. Wanted to highlight this one because this is what I believe is the first part of a new story arc called Easy Being Green. And as you can see on the cover, this is a cover that they had blacked out for a long time, but this is introducing the Spider Goblin. Not sure if he's going to first appear in 50, 51,
Yeah.
whatever, but
I was going to say, is this the first part of a new story? Because I thought 50, which comes out next week, I thought that was sort of the launch pad for whatever's going on here.
not positive when that quote unquote story arc
Yeah.
starts. But this is the first cover featuring the Spider Goblin, and
Yeah.
kind of our first like. I feel like this is really kicking into gear this story.
Yeah.
Like, what is this all about? Why do they call him the most dangerous villain now in the Marvel universe? Who can stop Peter Parker's mayhem and destruction? It sounds really interesting, and it looks like he's also going to be going up against the Sinister Six. So, the Sinister Six are tough, but they might not know what they're in for
Yeah.
with this crazy new version of Peter Parker.
They might not be ready for. He looks like he's really unpredictable.
Yes.
So we'll see.
So issue 50 comes out next week, and we're going to be going over on Monday's show.
Yeah. So we'll know more then
Yes.
once we read 50. So definitely come back Monday, and we'll have a better idea what's going on with all this.
But want to show you this awesome cover, this great homage to Spider-Man 300.
Yep.
Just so cool. So we've got our A cover right here. We have the Davy Go Pride Allies variant. We've got the Villalobos variant, which is really nice with Black Cat, and we got a Skottie
I love that
big
one.
Marvel cover with Spider-Punk.
And we'll see several more of these later in the show too.
Yep.
Next is Venomverse Reborn #1. So we just a few months ago had the death of the Venomverse, and now it is getting reborn. Apparently,
This stay dead for long.
Right. So this, I think each issue of this miniseries is going to have 2 or 3 different stories in them. And I'm not 100% sure on this. I think 2 of them are just anthology stories to that book, and then maybe there's another story that connects all of them. I don't quite know yet, though, so don't hold me to that 100%. But, so various writers and artists in this. So there's a story in this about the murder of the Avengers by one of their own, and I'm assuming a symbiote's involved with that somehow. The cool thing, though, and I think one thing this is what's going to make this one super interesting for people, is there is a story about the Venom from Insomniac Spider-Man 2 on PS5. That game featured Venom heavily. That Venom is going to be in this book going up against Null. And, if you played Spider-Man 2, there was a whole lot of Easter eggs, references to Null with the spiral symbol and all that. So, I guess technically this would take place after that.
It's gonna be interesting. Like, who's gonna be in the symbiote suit in this? Because it's not Eddie Brock in the game.
That's right. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how they work this story in with that. But I like that version of Venom in there.
Yeah.
I think he's really cool, and they found a really cool way. Like, what is the symbiote?
Yeah.
All of that. So. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more comics based off of the game.
Yeah,
universe.
for sure. So if you're a fan of the Spider-Man 2 game, check this out because it's going to have that Venom in this. And then it says that the stage gets set for all the stories that have been spinning out of the ongoing Venom series. And I feel like maybe that's your connecting story. Maybe. Again, don't quite know 100%, but that's what it sounds like. So if you're a Venom fan, definitely don't miss this one. We have this A cover here. We have a Derek Chu cover. There's some great covers for this book. There's a Lionel Francis Yu connecting variant. And then there's a Salvador LaRocca. I like that one a lot. Just, Venom just coming at you.
Yeah.
I think that was cool.
Yeah, and we know there's a big Venom event coming up later
Venom
on.
War.
Venom War
We got
was
like
teased in the free comic book book.
So I'm assuming maybe this leads into that, but we don't know much about Venom War
This gives
yet,
me
so.
the Edge of the Spider-Verse feel, where let's look at some different versions of the character. Next up, we have Blood Hunt #4. So I'm so glad that Blood Hunt 1 is out and people have read it. People are still getting into it because they've heard the good word that, hey, this is actually a really good Marvel event.
It was really good, yeah.
Now we're eagerly anticipating issue #2 to find out the shocking revelation from the end of the first issue.
And issue 2 comes out next week. We'll be talking about that on Monday, both the red band and the regular version. We'll tell you the differences and all that.
There's kind of a spoiler on this cover, I guess, if you think about it hard enough. But in this... And this solicitation will sound a little bit interesting if you read the first one, but Doctor Strange and Clea court a dread ally, but at what cost? So I'm wondering, it feels like a lot of this, is like Brielle is with Dracula, and it's like some of these other characters, because it also mentions Hunter's Moon and Tigra find a new ally as well that might not be a great person to team up with. So they're pulling in a lot of, sounds like some a little bit darker characters to help them with this. Plus, the Avengers get a long-awaited fight in avenging their friend, their fallen friend. So I'm very interested in all of this to see like what are they going to do to stop these vampires? Because at the moment they seem unstoppable.
Yeah, and I love that. I don't want to, just in case you haven't read number one, I won't spoil it, but I love that that's still there with Thor. If you read number one, you saw what happened to Thor. It's still there, and a nice consistency.
Yeah, look, you got Spider-Man up there in the corner.
Yeah,
It's some interesting stuff to come in Blood Hunt.
Wait, where's Spider-Man? That's not
Oh,
Spider-Man.
that's not Spider-Man.
No.
From back here, it looks like Spider-Man. Okay, so we also have the red band version of it. So everybody really excited. The red band sold out before the regular issue did. So make sure to pre-order the red band one if you want a little extra pizzazz and red splatter in your comic.
Yeah, the red band for number one had 2 extra pages and a few panels that were different, had more gore, and I'm assuming this will be the same.
Yeah, we'll report every issue what you can expect to find in it compared with the other one. We also have this. This is the David Baldeon Fangs variant, which very weird to have Vision with Fang.
Yeah.
Who knew an android could do that? We also have the Peach Momoko variant and a Tony Daniel variant. It's very cool.
That one was cool.
Very interesting lineup of characters.
Yeah. Next is Ultimate Spider-Man number 6. I was really excited for this one. Marco Checchetto is back on art, and this is the conclusion of the first story arc, not of the series. You know, it's an ongoing series, but the conclusion of the first arc. Spider-Man in this, as you can see on the cover, he finally confronts the Kingpin, who, you know, the Kingpin owns the Daily Bugle on this Earth, and because of that, he has been sort of controlling the flow of information as it pertains to, you know, the Secret Cabal, the Makers Council, because Kingpin's also working with the Makers Council. So he's been controlling what the public actually knows. Spider-Man's going to take him on. This Kingpin is just the first domino that needs to be toppled in the Makers regime, you know, if they're going to save the world, basically, you know, which I think we're going to get more of in the Ultimates and that kind of thing. And it says that Mary Jane holds her own.
Good. I want more Mary Jane.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I can't wait to see it. Mary Jane in this is great.
Maybe she delivers the final punch to Kingpin.
Yeah, who knows? But I can't wait for this. It's one of my favorite books on the stand. So we have our A cover right here. We have a really cool Chris Samney cover, and this just makes me want a Spider-Man series that Chris Samney does the interiors on, because that looks great. And then we have a Manhanini Ultimate Special variant. It looks like maybe Spider-Man, you know, Kingpin, it looks like he gets his licks into. What are all those markings on his body?
Looks like Kingpin might have some
tattoos
before. Or some kind of, is that the hint behind something going on a little extra with Kingpin?
I don't know. I have no idea. We haven't seen, I mean, we've seen Kingpin, but not shirtless yet, so
yeah,
interesting.
Something weird around his shoulders, too. I'm very interested to see what this is all about. Next up, we have Remote Space. I'm very excited about this because this is a new book from Image from Cliff Rathburn doing all of it, writing it, the art, everything. Cliff Rathburn, if you're not familiar with his work, he was the colorist, you could say, for The Walking Dead.
Right.
He did the gray tones for that. He also worked on Invincible with Ryan Ottley and Robert Kirkman. He's worked on a ton of different stuff. He had his own original book kind of back in the day, but he is a fantastic artist, inker, colorist, everything. So I'm very excited about this. It's going to be a 4-issue miniseries set in the year 2450, where humanity has basically evolved in 2 different directions. One of them have kind of adopted cybernetics to further themselves, and that has led them to the stars. The other half of humanity has chosen more, to use more genetic manipulation to further themselves. And on an Earth that's slowly dying, both of these kind of sects of humanity will have to come together to save the planet. You can kind of see that in that character in the middle. The 2 kind of sides come together.
Yeah.
It sounds very cool. He's got great design for kind of monsters and aliens and all of that. So I'm very interested in that. And there's only the 1 cover for it.
Nice. Well, this is Action Comics number 1066, so this is going to be House of Brainiac Part 5. We just got Part 3 this week with number 1065. This one says that the Brainiac Queen is alive. So I don't know if that happens in this issue or next week in Superman number 14 or 15,
Yeah.
because it's the next part of House of Brainiac. But by the time we get here, the Brainiac Queen's alive. Brainiac has finally completed his masterpiece, and Superman and his family are witness to a cosmic horror unlike anything that they've ever seen. I'm assuming they're referring to the Brainiac
They've
Queen.
seen a lot.
They've seen a lot, yeah. We learn the true history of Brainiac, and because everything's coming to a head, Lobo is going to have to finally, once and for all, decide whose side is he on, because maybe it's not so cut and dry if you read the last part.
Yeah.
There may be some questions in there. So just didn't want you to miss the next part of House of Brainiac. If you've been reading, it's a 6-part series, so this is the next to last main part, and there's a few more tie-ins left too.
And I guess the final number 6 is going to be in Superman.
I don't remember if it's in Superman or if it's in like a one-shot. I want to say it's in Superman, but I can't remember. But yeah, there's another Power Girl tie-in. I think Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But it's wrapping up as of this. So this is our A cover right here. We have a Jorge Jimenez variant, which looks really cool. We have a Paulo Rivera variant, and then there is a Betsy Cola DC Pride variant featuring Steel.
Yep. Tasha Irons. Okay, next up we got other number ones, because there's a lot of number ones this week, and I'm going to continue on with High on Life number 1 of 4. So I haven't played this game. I think it's an exclusive for Xbox, but it's kind of from some of the same art direction and everything as Rick and Morty. So this is by Alec Robbins and Kit Wallace with JP Jordan. And I know in the game it's like, I think it's a first-person shooter, but you're like ammo and like talks to you and stuff.
When you said first-person shooter, yeah, I know exactly what that is.
Yeah, it looks really funny. I've not played it yet, but I love the art style of it.
Yeah.
So it's based by Squanch Games, and it's a sequel to that game that follows the wild adventures of the bounty hunter who has now become the hunted, and a new threat to humans shoots its way onto the scene. So if you are a fan of the game, or you kind of like that style, the kind of absurdist humor, you'll definitely want to check this out. And we've got some covers that definitely you get the idea of these. So this is our A cover. We have our Wallace variant. We have our Game Art variant.
Yeah, that's the gun use, yeah.
And this is the Spano variant, which that's just so goofy. Yeah. I love it.
Next is Rifters number 1. So this is written by Brian Posehn and Joe Troman, and the art is by Chris Johnson. I would highly recommend that you guys search the solicitation, the description for this book, because I can't say what the first sentence said, but it's hilarious, and it involves saran wrap, and it sounds really gross and messy. So yeah, go seek that out. It's really funny. But this book is about what's described as Time Cop collides with Law and Order. And it's about 2 vice cops named Fenton and Geller. You can see them on the cover there. They suck at following rules, but they excel at busting time travel crimes, which sounds like Time Before Time, also from Image, that came out a while back. It says that their daily work involves things like chasing down douchebag influencers, hell-bent on live streaming illegal temporal trips to 1920 Chicago to steal bootleg hooch. So that sounds fun. However, they accidentally find themselves thrust into the heart of an inter-time serial homicide mystery. So it sounds equal parts kind of goofy,
kind of an 80s action movie. Yeah, like they can't follow rules.
Yeah, with time travel. Looks like you can see on the cover, like it looks like they're back in the 20s. This sounds like it's a nice mix of all kinds of different genres, and go seek out that solicitation. That first sentence is hilarious. So anyway, we have our A cover right here. We have it Michael Avon Oming, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then there is a Moore variant also.
Yeah, it's cool too, because Joe Troman, who is a member of Fall Out Boy, is currently also working on Holy Roller, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books out right now. So
when I saw that, I was like, wait, what else is he doing?
Yeah, Holy Roller.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, Holy Roller is fantastic. So if this is like that, then this is going to be great.
Next up, we have Neil Gaiman's The Anansi Boys, number 1. So this was a Neil Gaiman novel. I feel like I think it's pseudo tied in with American Gods. I haven't read this one, but I've read American Gods, and the Nancy character is in it. But this is also going to be an Amazon Prime show. So they're getting this
Oh.
adaptation out before that. So it's by Neil Gaiman, Mark Bernardin, and Sean Martinborough. And it follows Charlie Nancy, who has a really boring life as a boring Londoner until he learns his recently deceased father was Anansi, the spider trickster god from African folklore. And also that he has a twin brother. So this is a reality spanning sibling rivalry odyssey. So really cool. I haven't read the book. I've always wanted to read it because I loved American Gods. But if you've read it or you're excited about the show coming out, you're a big Neil Gaiman fan, you'll definitely want to check this one out.
Between this book and the one I just talked about, we told you there was a wide variety of books
Yes.
on FOC this weekend.
So we've got some great covers for this. We've got, of course, an A cover by David Mack, and we have our Martinborough cover, which I believe is your interior artist.
Okay. Next is Lawful #1. This is going to be an 8-issue series. This is written by Greg Pak and the art is by Diego Galindo. This says that magical meets modern in a walled city with a strangely familiar architecture. And I don't know what that means, but that was one of the first things the solicitation says. So, is it, I don't know, what's strangely familiar? Is it going to take place in like a real world place? I don't know. But it's about two small children. They have a sense of adventure. But they get a grim reminder of reality because in this world, every mistake that a person makes causes them to transform into a monster bit by bit. And you can see she's got a tail and some horns. So not a whole lot more about the story though. So I still don't really know like
Yeah, that's the
what this is going to
concept
be.
of the world, but we
Yeah,
don't know what are they going to be doing within it.
exactly. Not sure yet. We'll know more, I guess, when this comes out.
I love Greg Pak though.
Yeah, for sure. So this is our A cover, and we have a B cover by Mercado.
Very cool. Looks like they're going up against the lizard.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons, 2, #1. And this just got nominated for an Eisner
That's what I was gonna say,
Award,
yeah.
the first volume of
Mhm.
it, for, I think, Best Limited Series.
Yeah, or was it Best Artist or something?
It's up for an Eisner,
Yeah,
the first
for
one.
sure.
And it's the same team coming back for
Yeah.
this one. So it's Frank Thierry with Anika Miranda. And in this, it explores the conspiracy that led Sir Francis Drake to bury his treasure on Monster Island, and how Godzilla was discovered by the leaders of the world and how it changed history forever. So I know, especially the variant covers for the first volume were amazing.
They were.
Where little ships with giant Godzilla,
Yeah.
all of that. So
Did you read all of the first one?
I didn't, but I really
You
want
read
to
the
get
first issue.
yeah, I did.
You liked it.
Yeah, it's a really cool mixing like history with Godzilla rather than it
yeah.
always being modern. It was
Right.
kind of in the past.
Yeah.
So very, very cool. And we got our A cover here. And we've got our, it just says SM for the variant. So
Next is Street Fighter Masters Game Gals, and I believe this is a one-shot. And this one, Sakura, excuse me, squares off against the ladies of Street Fighter. You can see them all on the cover there. But who has turned these iconic game gals against each other, and why? So, if you're a big Street Fighter fan, we had the Street Fighter versus Final Fight Free Comic Book Day book a couple weeks back, and now we get more in this nice one-shot. We have this A cover here, and then there's a B cover by Rogers.
I couldn't make it past Chun-Li. She'd kick my
Yeah,
head off.
for sure.
Next up, we got DC Pride Uncovered, and this is just like all the other uncovered books that DC has done. It is a collection of some of the best covers and artwork, this time celebrating the LGBTQIA plus characters and artists that have worked on the series. So these always have really nice covers.
For sure.
So you get them all collected here, and just like the previous uncover they did, the book also has some great covers. So
I wish they would do these in like the big, like Marvel does the big oversized hardcover galleries.
Yeah.
Like that, with all the covers, that would be like a great coffee table book. It's like,
Yeah.
look at art.
especially because this is what this is focused
For
on,
sure,
is
yeah.
the art of it. So we've got our Jen Bartel A cover. We also have a Oscar Vega variant with Midnighter and Apollo. We've got a Luciano Vecchio cover. And we have this really nice Manahini cover with Batwoman and Renee Montoya, The Question.
All right, so This is Absolute Power #1, which is a big deal. However, this is just for the foil cover. So this is one of those deals that we talked about before where because the cover is extra special, this cover in particular has to be ordered earlier than the rest of the covers for this series. So we will talk about Absolute Power #1 when the A cover and all of the other covers are on FOC, which is not yet. This is only for the foil cover. So if you want the foil cover for Absolute Power #1, you need to order it this weekend. And if you don't want the foil cover, but you do want one of the others, then you still have time. The FOC date for those is not up yet. We just wanted to let you know about this one because it looks super cool. It looks like that's Wonder Woman's Amazo robot.
Yeah.
We don't know a whole lot about these guys yet. We'll know more later. But yeah, if you want the foil cover, this cover specifically, order it this weekend. Everything else will be later.
Especially if every issue maybe has a foil cover.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to start planning early for this
Right.
if you want to get them all.
Yeah, so, but we'll talk about more about the details of Absolute Power later when all the other covers are on FOC.
And next up, we got notable 2s and 3s, and there's a lot of these this time of a lot of really cool books that have just come out or about to come out, including Dracula Blood Hunt #2. I'm very excited about this one because in this, Dracula has come to Bloodline with a. It sounds like he's demanding a sacrifice, and it's a devil's bargain of a soul, and it says you need a priest to as a deal to escape, a lawyer and a devil must be met face to face, and all those things are wrapped up in one character, and that's
I
Daredevil.
feel like that's almost a little bit too convenient. Like
Yeah.
maybe Daredevil wrote that himself and slipped it. And he's like, I want to get involved. I'm going to say that they need this.
Yeah, it's like soul in peril, seek a priest. A deal to escape, a lawyer. A devil must be met face to face. Get someone who's blind.
That sounds like a commercial for like, have you been caught in a car crash? Call, Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah, it's Daredevil's
Yeah.
law agency, and they're
Right.
like, that's convenient. But I really like issue #1. I love the art in it, and I would love to see now Daredevil come into this, and how does he play in the wider story? Because he was also in the Free Comic Book Day when he saw or he felt the skies go dark and everything. So very, very cool in here with Dracula Blood Hunt #2. We also have this variant, this Manahiki variant, which, I wish there was more Daredevil in this series.
For
I
sure.
just feel like he's a great one to go up against.
Daredevil versus vampires, I'm sold on that all day long. All right, so next is Doctor Strange #16. So this is a Blood Hunt tie-in, and if you heard us talk about Doctor Strange #15, which was also a Blood Hunt tie-in, that we recommend that one, as one of the tie-ins. Not all the tie-ins are super important to the main story, but I feel like Doctor Strange #15 was, because it showed you exactly what happened right after the end of Blood Hunt #1.
It was like issue 1.2.
That's right.
Blood Hunt.
So now we have the next part of that. And in this one, it just says, can Wong and Clea save Doctor Strange from himself? And if you've read Blood Hunt #1 or this Doctor Strange 15, you know what that means, or if you can see it on the cover. But also, can they save themselves from him? So just very excited. Number 15 was great, and I can't wait to see this one. So we have our A cover here. We have a Martin Coccolo Stormbreakers variant. I'm guessing that Thanos and Nick Fury don't appear in this. There's a Skottie Young Big Marvels variant. I love these, and we'll see more of these even later. And then also number 15, which we just talked about being pretty important to the overall story. If you missed it, now you can get a second print. And this comes out the same day as number 16, so you could get them both on the same day and read them both and have a really cool Doctor Strange story.
Yep, be caught up.
Yep.
Next up, we got Black Panther Blood Hunt #2. We're still waiting on the #1 of this. Is that this week or?
I don't think so.
This is
It's not
coming
next
week.
week. Mm-hmm.
So already getting in our orders for issue #2. But from this solicitation, we've learned that T'Challa has been turned into a vampire and is on a mission for the leader of the vampires, which, if it's who we think it is, who's the official leader, it's pretty interesting. When he's confronted by Bast herself, the god, to warn him of the true nature of his enemy. So it looks like, even the gods are getting involved in this, which is pretty interesting. So we've got our A cover right here, and we also have this Davy Go variant.
Next is Venom Separation Anxiety number 2. The first one just came out, I believe it was this week or was it last week? I don't remember. But it was really cool. This is one of the retro series that Marvel likes to put out, so it falls in line with the Venom series from the 90s, back when Eddie Brock was still Venom, before all the Null stuff and all that. And in this one, the Purple Man's mind control abilities have torn Eddie Brock's life apart. And how does he now also possess part of the Venom symbiote, which is kind of a spoiler for the end of the first issue, but it's right there on the cover. So, how did that even happen? We didn't quite see it, I don't think, in the first issue. So it should be really cool. The art in this is really cool too. So great classic Venom, or new classic Venom stories. Our A cover right here, and then we have Apollo Sakura. Amazing Spider-Man number 1 homage variant, which is awesome. The first issue had a Web of Spider-Man number 1 homage, and now this is Amazing number 1 homage. And he says not final cover. This will be colored with text and everything.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Wolverine Blood Hunt number 2. Another one we still haven't got number 1 of, but eagerly anticipating. And in this, Wolverine teams up with Louise, the vampire hunting member of Night Guard. And they have to fight their way to the vampire leader. And it says, but you'll never guess who it is. And if it's the vampire leader that we already know, then I believe it now because I saw it. I'm not sure if this is maybe a leader of a different group or something like that. But you want to see Wolverine just tearing through some vampires. This is going to be awesome. So we've got our A cover right here. And we have a Nick Bradshaw variant, which is very cool.
Next is Ain't No Grave number 2. The first one was awesome, written by Skottie Young. The art is by Jorge Corona. They are a great team. And in this one, Ryder, who is the woman on the cover there, she seeks out death, literally the personification of death in the city of Cyprus. That's what issue number 1 was about, was her traveling to Cyprus to take on death. But she realizes very quickly that death is on the hunt for her as well. So it should be a great showdown between these two.
Yeah.
Great book. The first issue is phenomenal. Can't wait for this. And this is the only cover, right?
Yeah, I think there's only one cover for the first one.
Yeah, and speaking of the first one, it's going to second print. So, and they come out on the same day as well. Highly recommend the first issue. If you missed it the first time, grab the second print, get issue number 2, read them both when they come out on June 12th, and thank me later.
Next up, we've got Geiger number 3, and it's hard to find the what this issue is actually about. We got a little tease at the end of issue number 2 with this cover, and it said a little blurb about a library. But from what I could piece together, so you've got the electrician who has been hunting Geiger, is going to be messing with something that you don't want to mess with when it comes to Geiger, and it might push him to the edge of just total going crazy. But the most exciting thing, it says the return of Junkyard Joe.
Oh, nice!
One of the best characters from the unnamed universe, Junkyard Joe.
Have we seen Junkyard Joe in Geiger's time, or
he was in the first volume, and he was used as a robot to hunt Geiger.
Okay, I don't remember.
But we haven't seen him since then, and I'm very excited for him to come back and maybe be a hero.
Well, we haven't seen him in this time. We had that whole miniseries, which was phenomenal.
But he hasn't been in this new run of stuff.
That's going to be awesome.
So, a great character. If you've not read Junkyard Joe, go get the volume
the trade
of Junkyard Joe. You will love it.
It's really good.
It's really, really good. So this is our A cover for that. And we also have this Haspel cover, which is super cool. It kind of looks like a Hulk cover.
It almost looks like a Francavilla Archie horror cover in a way. Well, next is Crocodile Black number 2. This is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. The first one was really, once I figured out what was going on, it was really cool. And this one sounds like it's progressing at a good clip. This one's about Danny, who is our main character of this. He takes a morbid interest in Leo's life, and Leo is basically the dead guy that he found in issue number 1. So he takes a morbid interest in Leo's life, his Leo's possessions and Leo's house, all while in the presence of Leo's still rotting corpse. So he's so fixated on everything else about Leo, he forgot about the body there, I guess. And literally walking in Leo's shoes, which is the crocodile black boots that Leo wore. That's going to lead him into trouble, especially since a man that he meets can't help but take a liking to Danny's violent tendencies. So, sounds a really, really cool. I'm excited for this.
Very dark.
Yeah, for sure. And this is our only cover.
Next up, we got Monolith #2. #1 came out this week. Very interesting, space spawn story. It's going to be 3 issues, so this was already the halfway mark. And in this, the battle between Monolith and Omega Spawn rages across the stars. So I'm still trying to figure out when this takes place, but the first issue was really fun and just full of action. So if you're trying to keep up on all of the Spawn universe stuff, you don't want to miss this one.
Next is Principles of Necromancy #3. The second issue came out this week, and I really like this series so far. It's like so creepy, and each issue is kind of a one and done. It's kind of sort of an anthology with a connecting line of just Dr. Jacob Eyes right here. So in this one, it says that once a year, the 20 grand doctors of the city hospital gather together to discuss the research they've been doing, the new cures they found. But this year, everything gets turned on its head when Dr. Jacob Eyes, who is your main doctor there, the main character of the book, he presents his cure for death, which is what he's been trying to do these last couple issues. And then the last line just says, "Down with medicine, long live necromancy."
Oh.
So I cannot wait to see the creepy imagery in this. This has been a really, really cool book. We have our A cover here, and then there is a Heidersdorf variant. The book is full of weird, creepy stuff like that. Yeah, it's great.
Next up, we got Gun Honey Collision Course #2. #1 came out this week. Really great. I think technically the third part of this story.
Like a third volume.
Third volume. There was a Heat Seeker that was kind of a 2.5 story. But continuing on to this, what has driven Joanna Tan out of her hiding in Borneo after basically she was convicted of or framed for murder. She didn't do it, but means she had to go into hiding. What sends her on a mission outside of there to turn the tables on the people who are trying to kill her? You're gonna have to read this issue to find out. But issue #1 of the series was great. If you're a fan of kind of mature, hard case crime stories, espionage, all that kind of thing, you'll want to check this one out. So this is our A cover by Lim. We also have a Perillo variant, a King variant, and there is a second printing of #1. This is the Chew Copic variant. This is very like cyberpunk and everything. Very cool.
Next is The Whisper Queen #2. This is a 3-issue miniseries, so we're next to last issue already. The disgraced assassin Javro leads her friend to find her son, but first they got to get past the legendary killer known as the Dark Whisperer. You read the first issue and liked it pretty well?
It's interesting that this was a follow-up to The White Trees, which was a 2-issue miniseries.
Right,
Now this is a 3-issue miniseries. It's a very...
Maybe the next one will be 4 issues and they just increment by 1 every time.
But I imagine they could even do all this in 1 volume.
Oh, yeah.
Both series. But very cool kind of new fantasy world by Chip Zdarsky.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Chris Anka.
So we have our A cover here, and then we have a B cover by, that's Maria Levitt, right?
Yep.
Very cool.
Next up, we got Masters of the Universe Revolution #2. We just read issue #1 of this, which was great. It's the prequel to the Netflix series where Skeletor and Hordak meet and actually have to work together because Hordak finds out that his future, if he is going to succeed, is intertwined with Keldor, who becomes Skeletor. So great first issue, and I'm excited to see where this goes and how their paths interlock along the way. So we've got our A cover here, and then we also have, this is a Stoko variant, which is very cool. With Skeletor blowing up Castle Grayskull. Next up, we got cool covers. This is where you're going to see a lot of DC and a lot of Skottie Young.
Yeah, starting with Captain America #10. We just wanted to show you this Skottie Young Big Marvels variant. We also have Captain Marvel #9, Skottie Young Big Marvel variant. Immortal Thor #12, Skottie Young Big Marvel variant, and Invincible Iron Man #19, Skottie Young Big Marvel variant. I want a book with all of these guys in it on an adventure.
Yeah, retell Infinity Gauntlet, but with this is the art.
Secret War, the original Secret Wars.
Just do something like that. That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we've got Sensational She-Hulk #9, and this one claims it begins the most explosive story in She-Hulk history. So that's a
bold claim.
It's a bold claim, but we'll have to read it to find out.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him.
But this has been a really great series, so I'm very interested to see where it goes. This is our A cover, and then we also have an Adam Hughes variant.
Next up is Batman number 149. This is the very cool Delato variant. This is the epilogue of the Dark Prison storyline. So there wasn't a whole lot of information about this because it would probably spoil everything. But if you've been following along with Dark Prisons, which I think has been really cool, this is sort of the epilogue of that. And I imagine, if I had to guess, this is going to lead more or less into Absolute Power because this will be right around that time. So don't miss this if you've been reading that.
Yeah, this cover's like right before he breaks Batman's back. He's about to pick him up or something. Next up, we've got Batman Superman World's Finest number 28. And this is continuing with our fifth dimension
which is super fun.
Story, because something is destroying the fifth dimension, and it says this features a multitude of DC Universe guest stars and their fifth dimensional counterparts. So that's one of the best parts of this is saying like what's the Batmite equivalent of Green Arrow and Aquaman and all of them. And this is our super cool Zerdy cover, which is kind of an homage to Batman the Animated Series and Superman Adventures and all of that. And then we have a Masafara cover, which is just...
like the class. Well, it's World's Finest, so obviously they're classic, but I just love how classic they look.
They're just glowing.
Next is Catwoman number 66. This one, Catwoman, we're getting near the end, or maybe this is the end of the Nine Lives storyline. She has made numerous enemies over the course of this Nine Lives arc, and their vengeance is rapidly approaching. So sounds like she's going to have to face off against some people that she's made mad over the last few issues. And wanted to show you this really cool Racha Lynn variant, and then there is a Villa Lobos variant too.
I like that costume.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mix of modern but purple like her older costume.
I was going to say, if she had the black hair flowing, that would be the 90s, but because she doesn't, it's a nice mix of both.
Yeah, very cool. Next up, we've got Suicide Squad Dream Team number 4. This is the final issue of the miniseries that is a countdown to Absolute Power. So we're going to find out in this kind of... Even though I feel like the Free Comic Book Day book kind of spoiled where Dreamer ends up in this... I'm still interested to see how all of that plays out. So if you've been reading it, this is the final issue of that story. And this is the Fatima Ward Pride variant.
All right, this is Green Lantern number 12. Hal Jordan and the other Lanterns who have been rebelling against the United Planets, they try to escape the hands of the United Planets Lanterns, and a former ally gives Hal Jordan a chance of survival, but it might be too late. If you read number 11, which just came out, you might know who that is. And then also the backup story, Guy Gardner and possibly Lobo is still a House of Brainiac tie-in as well. So we have our, this is a B cover by Doc Shaner, and then there is a Gleb Melnikov variant, which I think that one is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Wonder Woman, issue 10. In this one, Cheetah enters the fray as the Wonder Girl's attempt to reach Diana before it's too late. So I love those characters. I love Cassie and Donna and Yara. So very cool there with that eye of Cheetah in the background. And this is our A cover. We also have a Tedesco variant. We have a Panosian variant. And we have a Phil Jimenez DC Pride variant as well.
Nightwing number 115. This is the second part of the Heartless saga. Number 114 comes out next week. We'll be talking about it on Monday. Dick has to help Heartless find his butler. Even though they're mortal enemies, Dick's still going to help him out find somebody else. But every noble sacrifice comes with a price. And Nightwing finds himself in a situation only someone as cunning as Heartless could have concocted. So it sounds like maybe his good deed... Maybe you shouldn't have done that. Let the butler go, I guess. But this is our Santucci variant.
The next we've got Transformers number 9. I'm very excited about this one because it says the war on Cybertron and Earth collide. And if you've been reading it, you know that there's kind of been two stories. One on Earth with Optimus and all of them. And there's also been one on Cybertron, which we've kind of been trying to figure out, is this going on concurrently? Is this in the past?
Yeah, I thought it was maybe a flashback, but maybe not.
Because of this, it sounds like it's going to bring those two together, and it says even the Autobots and the Decepticons are not ready for how that's gonna happen. So very, very excited for this one. One super cool cover by Daniel Warren Johnson. We also have a Jorge Corona variant with Shockwave, which is very cool. And then we're getting these. This is once again the black and white version of this, but there are going to be color versions. They're just not ready yet. This is the Jason Howard connecting EU anniversary variant. So I can't wait to
Lots
see
of
these
GI
in
Joe
colors.
on there. Yeah.
This is going to be really cool. Next up, we got graphic novels and more. We've got second printings. We got omnibuses. We got it all. Starting with
the Cobra Commander trade paperback. This is going to collect the entire Cobra Commander miniseries. Number 5 comes out next week, so we're going to talk about it on Monday. We'll be able to tell you spoiler-free, how it all wraps up. And then if you've missed it, or if you just really like it and want to get the trade, definitely grab this, and it's going to be $14.99.
Plus, it has a variant.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they've been doing this more lately. So this is the direct market variant, which you can only get at comic book stores like ours.
Yep, and this is, I believe, the cover for issue 5. The
yeah,
cover
I think
for
so.
issue 5. So.
Which the other cover, the standard edition cover, was number 1.
Yep.
So
very cool. Next up, we've got Rocko's Modern Life and Afterlife. This is a collection of the more recent Boom did a Rocko's Modern Life miniseries. There was 8 issues, and then they did Afterlife, which was a 4-issue miniseries. This collects both of them and continues the adventures of everybody's favorite Wallaby as he's just trying to navigate life. But what was really fun about this is because it's a little more modern. Rocko's having to deal with a world that's been taken over by people on their phones and stuff, and Rocko's just a simple guy.
Yeah.
He just wants to live his life in front of the TV, and it's not going that well.
Don't we all?
So
I can relate.
Yeah. So this is going to be $18.99.
This is the Defenders of the Earth.
Defenders of the Earth.
That was my first introduction to, I think, pretty much all these characters. So this is the trade paperback. It's going to be $9.99. It's going to collect issues 1 through 4 of the original Defenders of the Earth run from Star Comics, which was an imprint of Marvel Comics from back in 1987. It's the first time this has ever been collected. And obviously, if you're not familiar with Defenders of the Earth, it brings together Flash Gordon, the Phantom, Mandrake the Magician, and Lothar as they go up against Ming the Merciless. So it's really cool. It was
Justice League for those characters.
Yeah, I had the Flash Gordon toy from this back in the 80s. It was great. So I've never read this though, so I can't wait to see what this is all about.
Next up, we've got Star Wars Modern Era Epic Collection, Volume 1, Skywalker Strike. So Marvel's been doing these modern Epic Collections, which are awesome. I just previously bought the Red Hulk one. And this one is great if you were just now getting into the Marvel Star Wars comics. They've been going for a little while, and maybe you want to go back and read some of the earlier stuff, or maybe you didn't read the earlier stuff when it came out. So this collects Star Wars, the 2015 series, issues 1 through 14. It's got the #1 director's cut and Vader Down, which was the first kind of mini-series crossover between Darth Vader and the Star Wars series, plus Darth Vader issues 13 through 15. So these kind of epic collections make sure you've got all the parts to everything.
Yeah. So this is the beginning of Marvel's run with Star Wars, right?
New run on Star Wars by Jason Aaron and Kieran Gillen, and
because I haven't read any of those, I might get that and try to start.
Yeah,
that's great.
This is super cool. So hopefully they do a Darth Vader one.
I was going to ask,
Bounty Hunters
has there been a Darth Vader one? Because this is Darth Vader 13 and on, right? Has there been a 1 through 12?
So I'm guessing they'll probably do a Darth Vader that has all of this, and probably collects a couple of issues of Star Wars in it to complete the Vader Down story, which was really cool. So this is going to be $44.99.
All right, so this is cool. This is Batman by Paul Dini Omnibus. This is going to be $125, and it collects various stories from Paul Dini's runs on Detective Comics and Batman: The Streets of Gotham. Plus, there's going to be bonus stories, behind-the-scenes material, all kinds of stuff. You got some Dustin Nguyen art, that's the artist on the cover there. So yeah, some great Batman stories that are all going to be collected in this.
By one of the best Batman writers ever, Paul Dini.
Yep.
And next up, this I'm very excited about. I mean, DC's going on all in with their Elseworlds
Speaking
stuff.
of Elseworlds.
So this is Elseworlds Batman Volume 1, the 2024 edition. A few years ago, they did some of these, but this is kind of the updated version and aligns with their new Elseworlds initiative that they're doing. So this features, spotlights the Batman Elseworlds stories. So you're going to see Batman as a holy priest, teamed up with Houdini, Batman as Green Lantern, as you see on the cover, because this collects Batman Holy Terror, Batman, the Blue, the Gray, and the Bat, Robin 3001 and 2, Batman Dark Joker the Wild, Batman Houdini the Devil's Workshop, Batman Castle of the Bat, Batman Darkest Night, and Batman Dark Allegiances. So this collects a lot of those. What at the time were collected, or they were kind of like weird, like square bound, but they were really thin.
They're like a lot of them.
Cardboard covers.
A lot of them ran in the annuals.
Yeah. So these were, you can find these out there.
Yeah.
But to have them all collected in one,
That's
these are
the key.
very, you're not going to find a back issue box that has like, because these were kind of one shots
Right.
and they were spattered around. So this is awesome. They're collecting all these. I believe they're also doing the Superman, the Justice League.
Yeah.
They're doing all of these. So
And the August solicitations for DC just came out today, and in those solicitations is the volume 2. And I'm wondering where maybe that one has Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but it's got to be somewhere.
Yeah. So very, very cool here. And this is going to be $34.99. Maybe because Gotham by Gaslight it might be a little bit bigger than
maybe,
like a single issue.
Well, this is the Crisis on Infinite Earths number 3 Facsimile edition. We just wanted to let you know about it. This is going to have the regular cover, the foil cover, which I've been trying to get all of those, and then a blank sketch. Is that right? Yeah. Facsimile for Crisis.
But it's cool seeing these again and being like, man, these covers are great.
Yeah, George Perez.
There's so much going on. Next up, we also have Universal Monsters, Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives #1, second printing. We haven't got issue 2 of this yet, but I really like issue #1. I'm very excited for all of these Universal Monster series. In the solicitations for Image that just came out today is the Frankenstein #1. So they're committed to this.
Yeah.
So we've got Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, next is Frankenstein. So if you want to get in on this and you missed #1, definitely check this one out. And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. We had a lot of stuff on this show, but hopefully you found something that you are interested in. So if you head over to infinityflux.net right now, you can pre-order these books. Your pre-orders are due Sunday evening, Sunday night, around 6 to 8 o'clock is your last chance to get those orders in, so you don't miss out on any of the awesome comics we talked about here. Plenty of other stuff to check out on infinityflux.net as well. Plus, we've got a very big show coming up on Monday. We'll be going over the books that are coming out next week, and there is pretty much every big heavy hitter is represented.
I think next week is probably the biggest week we've had all year.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with the number of books, but with the
caliber.
The caliber of books. Blood Hunt and the new Gwen Stacy and Rook and Void Rivals, and there's just a bunch of stuff. Ultimate Black Panther. Holy cow! Next week is going to be huge.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that one, because you're going to be wanting all the info you can when you go into your store and you're looking and you're like, I am so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Also, just to know, like, make sure I'm not missing anything.
Right.
What did they talk about that I need to either ask about where it is or something? So you don't want to miss that show because it's going to be great. If you stuck with us through this, leave a bat. Leave a bat.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
A bat and a little lantern.
Something like that.
To let us know that you made it all the way to the end. And if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe, because just bringing more good comic book stuff your way. And I guess that's it. And until next time, see ya.